Hi, this is E.T. We live, circa 2019, in an age where, well, if you judge from pop culture, things are turned around. Left is right, right is wrong. All things appear mixed. Under this heading, one finds women behaving as do men, something that E.T. finds disturbing. Well, that said, history is full of examples of strong, athletic, often svelte females utilizing gifts that they received from the Lord and on occasion from Seba or Organon or whatever chemical company to perform as well as and often better than do males. Greek mythology tells of the Amazons. They were a tribe of women warriors. They lived in Asia Minor. They were thought to be the daughters of Ares, or Mars, the god of war, and they were aggressive. Their main concern was war. We have a few of like people around today. Jumping forward a few millennia, we find women such as Marie Ford. Marie was born in 1900 in New York. She stood 5 feet 4 inches and weighed about 130 pounds. She participated in weightlifting, boxing, wrestling, running. She was a circus acrobat. She could do strongman stunts like driving stakes with a 16-pound mallet. Have you ever picked up one of those? She could lift the front end of a Model T Ford. She could punch nails into a 1-inch thick wooden board. She traveled all over North America showing her strength feats and athletic prowess. She would challenge any woman, in fact any man, in the audience to wrestling or boxing. Now the men had to have about the same body weight, and none of them could be a professional fighter. The women who boxed Little Marie were, by and large, quite large. The Midwestern women raised on farms, used to hard work. Now, usually, her opponents would go straight at her and press her. She would sidestep the attack, allow them to punch themselves out. Then she'd come in with a right-handed uppercut to the jaw, and that usually ended the bout. She was founder of the forerunner of today's MMA, or mixed martial arts. She combined boxing and wrestling and used the tactics that are being used today by MMA fighters. She'd first go in and soften the opponents with punches, and they usually came from odd angles. Then, assuming that her opponent was still standing, she would grab her or him, usually by the neck, throw the opponent down, and then get the pin. At that time, they weren't looking for a KO, just a pin. Well, let's move up about half a century and take a look at Peggy Stockton, known as the Queen of Muscle Beach. Peggy was born August 11, 1917. She died in 2006 in June of Alzheimer's. She was known as a professional strongwoman. She is the first of the present-day female bodybuilder types. She was famous on magazine covers and elsewhere through her involvement in the 1940s at a place in California known as Muscle Beach. In 1924, her family moved to Santa Monica, California. At that time, she had already acquired the name of Peggy. Nobody's quite sure why, even though she was pretty tiny, 5 foot 2 inch, about 115 pounds during her competitive years. She met Les Stockton during her senior year at high school. They were married in 1941, and she and her husband made regular pilgrimages to Muscle Beach. Now, at that time, there wasn't so much weightlifting. There was more acrobatic stuff, gymnastics. You can see a picture of Peggy as the understander. She's supporting Les. Les weighed about 180 pounds. She's holding him over her head in a hand-to-hand stand. She was obviously a media favorite, and you can see her pictures in magazines that are online today, or you can go to the library. She was on, she said, 42 covers of magazines by the end of the 1940s. And we're talking about Life magazine. There was another one called Pick, and several others. There was a newsreel, What a Build. What else? Muscletown, USA. You could see her in advertisements in magazines and later on television for a vitamin company and what else? A camera company. You would see her posing with male bodybuilders of the early 50s like John Grimmick and Steve Reeves, who went on to play Hercules in movies. Stockton, in 1944, was writing a column for women. It was called Barbells, Barbells, and it told women how to train. Now, keep in mind, this is really new stuff. Women weren't supposed to do that. That column appeared in Strength and Health magazine. She helped organize the first sanctioned weightlifting contest for women. It held its first match in, I think, February of 1947 in Los Angeles. And there, utilizing the Olympic lifts, Pudgy pressed over her head, standing press, 100 pounds. She could snatch lift 105 and clean and jerked 135. But she was good at bodybuilding too. She won the Miss Physical Culture Venus Award in 1948. And this is during a time when women's physique contests were just not even thought of. Let's jump up another few decades and take a look at Bev Frances. Bev, born in 1955 in Australia, became a track and field sensation during the late 1970s into the early 1980s. She threw the shot, she threw the discus, and the javelin. Then in the mid-80s, she entered powerlifting and became a world powerlifting champion. Bev Frances broke roughly 40-plus records. She got out of the game undefeated. She was the first woman to bench press 300 pounds. Her personal records in the powerlifting contest were squat, 500 pounds, bench press, 335 pounds, deadlift, 501 pounds. And then about the same time as Bev Frances, we have Jan Todd. Jan, born 1952 in Pennsylvania. In 1973, she began powerlifting. That was after having married Dr. Terry Todd. Terry Todd was the United States' first heavyweight powerlifting champion. In 1975, Jan had her first competition and set her first record. She deadlifted almost 400 pounds. That was a Guinness World Record, and it held for 49 years. In 1976, she was the first woman to lift over 400 pounds doing anything. That was with a deadlift of 412 pounds, and her total in the 3 lifts was 1,200 pounds. She was named by Sports Illustrated the world's strongest woman. Well, E.T. cannot say if either Frances or Todd were at any time enhanced. You can decide that for yourself. Jan Todd's husband, the late Terry Todd, did discuss the subject of chemical enhancements in his really informative book titled Inside Powerlifting, and he talked about it on radio during his occasional National Public Radio commentaries. The points here are these. Women throughout recorded history have shown themselves despite some genetic disadvantages, capable of admirable feats of strength and endurance, and to have very athletic bodies, while at the same time maintaining their femininity, maintaining loving families. So what do you think? Put in your comments below. Hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. Do subscribe to this channel. Thank you.